It's mailbag time with non-copyrighted music. Cutting carefully. Looks like relays. Relays. Okay, so yeah, been doing a bit of relay action lately, particularly with the ESP32s, which means that we're looking at 3-volt activation, not 12-volt activation. So that's what this is about. I'm not going to hook this up because I've got good confidence that that I'm all over these things. So we've got our, for instance, the load that we're switching coming in here. Then across here is our 3 volts, and then we've got normally open and normally closed at the other end. So yeah, but expect to see these on this type of board where you can see the extra hole there for this to sit in there. Not very breadboard friendly, but does fit on these boards, and then you put your ESP8266 or indeed your ESP32 and yeah, and then get them to switch bigger loads, across using, I don't know, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or what have you. But this is a 3-volt version, so they should be handy. Interesting sound. Might just go for one corner here and see how we go. Yeah, probably could have been a little bit braver. There's a lot of tape on there, actually. A lot of tape. This has got nothing to do with electronics. Oh, you're going to love this. So we've got a couple of puppies, and grooming kits are very expensive here. So I've actually been sourcing some lovely metal combs. And one of the puppies in particular has a lot of excess hair fluffiness that comes out. There's probably a word for it, I'm not sure. In fact, what I'll do is I'll link you to B's site. So B does a lot of work with Gordon setters, and one of our puppies is a Gordon setter. And what she does is she puts rubber bands along in this thick part here, and then when she combs them, the rubber bands pick up the excess fluffy hair. And these things are hideously expensive in Australia. I don't remember what this was, but it was worth ordering. I remember that. What's in this one? Oh, wow. Okay. Yes. So I've been going a little bit ESP32 crazy recently, and in fact have been using adapters like this one. Oh, look at that. The ESP32 of shame is still on there. I've been found out. Yeah, this is one of my early attempts. I did eventually get some success, which I'll link up here. I don't quite know what went wrong with this one, and I've kept it. Well, I keep everything because I may end up, maybe desoldering or resoldering or doing something, but I'm pretty sure that is fried. And these guys are here to, replace and extend the projects that I've got. Things like the Wi-Fi network, like the over-the-air programming and all those sorts of things. So while these are cheap and cheerful, and I don't think they always will be, and they're so specced up. I mean, I think it's 4 meg flash. They've got onboard Wi-Fi, onboard Bluetooth. So hard to ignore them at the current prices, but grab them while you can, I would say, because I don't think it's always going to be the case. Little box. Strange little box. Ooh, it's seen some action. Haven't we all? Let's see what's in here, though. Is that it? Okay, so this box is completely empty. Look at that. Look at the size in there. There's a lot of space. And this little thing's in there. But what is it? Okay, I'm going to have to get very close to that. diodes, as it turns out, Zener diodes. I'm guessing that's what the Z for is there, and the 1.5 refers to 15 volts. I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, that this is for a project which I think Great Scott actually put together recently, and if that's the case, I will link the video in for you. And that is where you've got a guy that on GitHub did an open source like oven-y PCB. I think it runs from an Arduino Nano, and then there's some passive components, including a diode that you put on there. So I think that's what that's about. And if it's not, then it's just standard 15 volt Zener diodes for some reason. A box. I hate boxes. I'm no good at getting into boxes. I just can't see how to get into them. So I'm going to try. Oh, this looks like a PCB. What? Yes, it is a PCB. So I think this is the one that Great Scott was touting, where a guy had put together, yeah, so there's copper under here. So he's put together this PCB specifically for solder reflow. So you put together, there's probably an A-tiny, no, sorry, not A-tiny. That would be an Atmega, probably 328. Let's get down there and have a look. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on this one, but there's going to be obviously some power coming. It looks like 12 volts. And then you've got a MOSFET. There's a diode there. I'm not sure what that one is. Oh, OLED. Okay, so there's a display that comes out that sits over the top, and some more components I'm hoping I've got. I'm thinking that this is probably an Atmega 328, a 168, or even an 88. Hopefully an 88, because I've got heaps of those, not so much of the others. Couple of buttons by the look of it. And then the programming device, I presume, so you can get to the processor, although, to be honest, I think it'd be easier to program it first and then put it in there. And then the majority of it is this Reflow hot plate, this surface here. So, yeah, great little project. And on the back, nothing really. So just a link there to the GitHub, which I'll be going to straight away to find out how to put this thing together and if I've got all the components for it. Hey, looking forward to that. I'm not sure you're going to get like a huge amount of use over time. Like, I'm just not sure how many times you'd be able to fire this thing up. But I do like the idea of a bit more temperature control than what I've got. And that is basically, an oven. So it's a very cheap oven. And then my own sort of little project. I'll link that in as well too, actually. So I've done a little project on that oven so that I can make, for instance, the Paduk programmer. But yeah, this is nice for Reflow. Just recently did a hot air gun Reflow, which worked pretty well. But I like the idea of this sort of more gentle one without air going all over the place. Yeah, so that's a good one. Oh, what a nice colour, and quite squishy and weird. All right, let's try this one. See what's inside. It's packaging within packaging. Nicely packed. And a couple of little mysterious boxes. Very well packed, this. And within those mysterious boxes are ESP32TT goes. So there's quite a few projects around here. Let's get a bit closer, and I'll have a chat about what hopefully this will end up being. Yeah, so this is coming into the country reasonably cheaply at the moment, and they're just the ESP32s with all the usual bits and pieces that you'd expect, but over the top is a little OLED display, all integrated. And I've seen them where people do, little gaming devices or things like that, all sorts of things, maybe like an environmental indicator for temperature and for pressure, whatever it happens to be. But what I'm thinking about actually is using this for internet radio. And there is an internet radio project out there, but I haven't had much success with it with the TT Go's that I've got. So I've ordered a couple more, just on the off chance I've got, maybe a couple of dodgy ones in the past. And what I'm really going to have to do, I think, is get down to past the libraries and down to what do I want the display to show, and how do I want the ESP32 to connect to the internet. And if I can solve those two problems, then a nice little internet radio project awaits this guy. And if I fry it, it's made. And inside this one, oh, whoa, okay, that's interesting. So looks like some single core copper. Looks like about 3 mil maybe. Oh, there we go, that's off, easy. Let's have a look to see how close I am to that. Is this thing zeroed? Yep. And then we've got 2.93, 2.94, 3.02. Yeah, so let's say 3 mil. And what I'm looking at that one for, and I've got some 1 mil on the way too, are a couple of projects where the wiring actually forms part of the structure. And I'm inspired by some work that I've seen. First, I think there's a link on Twitter, but I'll put a couple of pictures. Let me create some space, and there's sort of I'll put them here. They're projects which are quite futuristic. I don't know, in a steampunk sort of way, and I just love the idea of the copper forming part of the structure themselves. And one which I've seen relatively recently from I think it's actually another maker. Not another maker, but another maker, which is it's a clock basically, and it's similar to the clocks that I've made in the past, but it sort of sits up and it sits in its own cradle of this wire, not 3 mil, but 1 mil. I am interested to know what the continuity situation is with this, so let's have a look. So let's see if we can get some continuity. We'll try a bit close to start with. Yep, good. A little bit further away. Nice. And this is supposed to be a meter. And sorry about the flare there. Let's try that again and see if we've got different values. They're very close. Low resistance. Yeah, so good. And I haven't scraped that back yet, that copper, so I'm assuming that that's pretty good. Yeah, that's really nice. Let's see if there is some resistance. So, we'll go to 200 ohms, I guess. I'll go right from one end to the other. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. And close up. Oh, about the same. Might have something to do with the coating, actually. So maybe I need to scrape that back a bit. But I'm pretty impressed that it does conduct, and that's what we need. And also, because of its stiffness, it can actually operate as a structural component as well. Like it. That is the mailbag for the week, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.